Hey everyone, Sparks back with another Goddess Victory Nikke video, and this video is for all the new players. Although even if you're an experienced player, there may be a few things in here that you will need to be reminded of and might help refocus your account and optimize some things. So I'm an official Nikke content creator, and I know that a lot of new players have joined Nikke since the ReZero collab, and so I thought it would be good to make kind of a quick start guide for all the new players to help you get your account on the right track. So we're going to talk about some basic things, some targets to shoot for, efficient management of resources, what the gacha's like, all of it. So let's go ahead and just dive right into it. And the first tip that I can give you is just push the campaign, okay? This is the best way to progress your account. It's going to unlock extra stuff, you're going to get more resources. When in doubt, just do more campaign. The other thing is this day-by-day missions thing, and this is, kind of like just giving me advice of like, play the game. But there's a bunch of missions in here, just be aware of it. You'll naturally progress through it as you sort of do all the other things in the game, but just check in to see what missions you need to do, because there are a lot of valuable resources, and then eventually you'll get an SSR Privity, who is a very, very useful unit. So don't forget about that. All right. So now let's talk about some more specific things here, and for that I'm going to go into the outpost. And there's a lot of things going on in the outpost, but one thing that I think a lot of like older players forget that it even exists is this Tactics Academy. But this is a key piece of progression in the early game, okay? So when you go into the Tactics Academy, there's going to be a bunch of things like lessons, quote unquote, that you can do. And basically you'll need to invest credits and have certain number of units. And generally these are rare or low rarity units, so you don't need to worry too much about it. But all of your resources that you can put into it should go into there first. As much as you can build that, that's going to give you a better ROI in the long run, okay? Because you're going to get more resources from it. You're going to unlock synchro slots for your units. If you don't know what that is, we'll talk about that a little bit later too. But it's just really, really valuable. So make sure you're leveling up this Tactics Academy first before you're doing other things with those resources, if you're able to do another lesson in that academy. Okay. The other thing that's really, really important is to level your units evenly, okay? And only level 5 of them. Now, you may, switch over to a couple of units after the very, very initial part of the game because you're just using some like random stuff that you're never going to use again. But basically, there are thresholds where you need to level up your units with core dust, and you don't want to level up multiple units past where you actually start using core dust, okay? So it's very important that you level up only 5 at a time, because I should have stayed in the outpost to show you, but you have that synchro chamber, and then you can put other units in it, and you can level up all your new units to the exact same level as you just leveled up those 4, okay? I mean those 5. So it does no good to level up other units, it's just a waste of resources. Level up 5, it'll level up all the rest of them, and you want to make sure they're evenly, because it will only level them all up to like whatever the lowest level of those 5 units are, okay? So level each one up even. If like, you get to 11, then make your other one 11. If they all get to 11, then go up to 12. You get the idea. All right. Now let's talk about the blue tickets. We're going to go into the gacha here, or the recruit as it is called in Nikke. And we'll go to this one. This is the basic banner here, okay? And you only want to use blue tickets here. Now you can use gems, but you're just going to only use blue tickets on this. We'll go ahead and just do an example. We'll do a 10 times pull here, see if we can get something good while we're recording. That would be cool. But you have a wish list here that you'll unlock, and you can make that wish list have any units, no SSRs, okay. You can make that wish list have any units on here that you already own, okay? And as you just get blue tickets, you can just spam this. You don't need to worry about saving them, and then you'll be able to start building up duplicates, okay? And then every time you pull, you will also get these black tickets over here. You can see them at the top just below my gem count. And you can turn in those black tickets for extra copies of units as well, and you can get faster limit breaks on those units. And it's really important. If we go back to the lobby, I'll show you that shop here really quick. It's really important that you try and get duplicates. So here they are. You can see I can exchange black tickets for them. I don't currently have enough to get a spare body. This will get you duplicates, and random Nikkes will show up here, different ones every day. And the main reason why you want to do this is because you're trying to get past the 160 wall, and you need 5 SSR units to get to max limit break, okay? So they need to be at 3 stars, and then they can push past 160. You may have heard people talk about the 160 wall. The only way to get past that is to get 5 SSRs up to max limit break, okay? I also made a whole video on breaking the 160 wall. You can check that in the description after this one. But just so you know, that's what you want to do in that normal banner, and don't waste your gems there because you have the special recruit banners, okay? And that's where you're going to spend your gems and your rainbow tickets. Now, rainbow tickets are basically the same as gems. They'll just be used automatically before you use up gems. And I would say that if you are a ReZero fan, spend now, okay? It's, you know, these are the units you like. I always say play with the units that you have fun with, but I would say try and go all in. So if you're trying to pull for Amelia or for Rem, pull until you get a max limit break of them, okay? Because this is a great opportunity with a rate up banner to get a unit to max limit break, and that's going to really help you in the long run. Plus, you're just building up the unit that you think is fun, right? By the way, Rem looks like she's going to be very, very powerful, and Amelia has turned out to be quite useful as well, so don't feel bad, even from like a meta perspective. If you're just trying to get strong units, these are pretty strong units. Otherwise, general rules as far as what you want to save your gems for, it's going to be for like your main DPS carries, units with cooldown reduction, or pilgrims, and anniversary events, which the anniversary is coming up. Our 1.5 anniversary is probably a month from now, maybe a little less than a month ago, or a month from now, and that's going to have probably some very valuable stuff, maybe a really powerful new pilgrim unit, so you want to have resources for that as well. Just don't spend your gems over here. Spam the blue tickets only, and make sure you're putting units on your wish list that you already have. Even if you don't use those units, you want to get duplicates. Your #1 goal at the beginning of the game is to get as many duplicates of 5 units that you can to be able to break that 160 wall. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck there for a long time. Okay, so now let's go ahead and talk about boxes. So we're going to go into our inventory, okay? And you can see here that I have all these boxes up here in this top row. I have some of core dust, some of battle data, some of credits, and they're by rarity. So we got like the yellow ones, purple ones, and the blue ones, and they're like bigger. They give you more resources, okay? So the boxes are based on the hours it would take to accumulate the given resource from the outpost defense at your current level, okay? So let me explain that. So let's look at this credit box. This is a 4-hour credit box. So what that means is one of these credit boxes will give me the equivalent of 4 hours of outpost defense accumulation, okay? And you're going to just level up this outpost defense automatically as you're playing the game every day, okay? And the higher it gets, the higher rate of resources you will get every hour. So the reason why you want to be careful with these boxes is because you don't want to open them prematurely, okay? Leave the boxes in your inventory until you hit a wall where you need to open resources or you need more resources, then open boxes. Because the longer you wait, the higher you'll push up that outpost defense level, and then you'll get more resources for every box that you open. So now let's talk about which boxes to prioritize, okay? Because sometimes you'll get a box where you can choose one of these 3 resources of either core dust, battle data, or credits. And the most important one by far is core dust, okay? Always prioritize core dust. And there will be other event shops, like if we go into the current ReZero collab, we can go over here into the shop and we'll see that there's core dust there as well. And you'll find core dust in other situations. It's all over the place. But core dust is one of the most valuable things here. You can see I already bought all the core dust boxes because I prioritized that first, okay? Because you will need a huge amount of core dust once you get up to level 200, okay? Now, I know this might sound like a long ways away, and you're like, I got time, but trust me, start saving it now. Along the way, you'll hit certain milestones where you need to use core dust as well, like every 20 levels, I think it is, and it increases every time. But once you hit 200, it will take 10,000 core dust every single time you try and level up, okay? So you need a ton of core dust. And then eventually it increases to being 11,000 every time. Now, it sounds daunting, it is a little bit daunting, but if you plan ahead, it actually isn't that much of a problem, okay? I also made a whole video on leveling past level 200, since that's kind of like the natural level cap, so you can check that in the description below as well. Okay, so just remember, always get core dust. If there's ever a choice, prioritize core dust. You might even feel like you're temporarily bottlenecked by some other resource, but it's okay. It'll work itself out. Just be patient. Still get core dust over everything else, okay? The next most valuable resource is going to be the credits. And that's because credits is used for everything, okay? So credits is going to be used to level up that Tactics Academy that I talked about. Credits are going to be used to just level up your Nikkes. Credits are going to be used to level up your gear, particularly when you get to overload gear. So you do need a lot of credits, so try and get credits whenever you can. Now, by far the least valuable one is battle data. Now, you might actually be a little bit starved for battle data in the early game, but later on, battle data becomes like almost useless, okay? I mean, you will still need it, but you'll have more than enough of it, okay? So battle data is by far your lowest priority if you ever need to, choose what you're getting here. I think you do need to use battle data for the Tactics Academy for part of it as well, and you'll need to level up your Nikkes, but once you get past, kind of like into the mid game, you just like basically never need to think about battle data again. Okay, so then, let's see, I already talked about credits. The next thing I want to talk about is the skill and burst manuals. That's going to be over here in the material tab, and it's all of these books over here, okay? Now, you can get them from certain special events, like if we went back to the ReZero event area, we can buy those in that event shop as well. You want to make sure you're picking up those, make sure you buy them, they are very valuable. But the main way that you can accumulate these is through the simulation room. It's everybody's probably least favorite game mode, but don't skip out on simulation room. You want to make sure you're doing this every single day. Right now we've got full burst day, which means you get double rewards, so make sure you do that there especially. But simulation room is going to be their main way to farm those skill materials, and skill levels make a big difference in your CP rating, which is your overall power rating of your squads. So the thing is, this can also be a bottleneck. So next to Cortus, skill manuals is probably the next biggest bottleneck, okay? And so the reason why I bring that up is because you will not have enough skill manuals to level up everybody, okay? I am a day one player and I have farmed everything possible all the time, and I do not have even close to everything max skilled up, okay? Now there are certain units that are extremely good, and so I invested all the way, and then I have them like all on level 10, okay? But for most units, you don't even want to level them up. Make sure you're only leveling units that you actually are using. Now, of course, you're going to move on from units over time, and kind of, there will be some that, you leveled them up and you don't use them anymore, but, that's just part of playing the game, over a long period of time, right? But don't level up anything just because you can, okay? Make sure you're saving for things that you think are actually going to be really valuable. I mean, even like a unit like, say, Summer Anise, she's very good, but even her, I don't have all of her skills all maxed out, okay? So just keep that in mind. Also, generally, you're probably going to be more starved for the burst manuals rather than the skill manuals, but that's kind of variable. It depends on exactly what units you have. Also, generally, some good milestones of stopping at skill levels are going to be skill level 4, skill level 7, and then 10, of course, because at each of those thresholds, that's when the cost goes up considerably. So just keep that in mind. Okay, the next thing I think we can talk about is important stats on skills and gear, okay? Now, if we take a look at like Leader here, for instance, she is a staple unit, one of the best supports, one of the best burst ones in the game. And if we look at her, she has a lot of great things going on here, okay? So particularly good things that you want to keep in mind when you're looking for strong units is going to be cooldown reduction, attack stats, elemental damage, reload speed, and max ammo, okay? These are some of the most valuable things in the game, and you can see Leader here gives a huge attack boost, and she gives cooldown reduction, okay? So these are some very, very powerful things that make Leader very good. She's, aside from Pilgrims, possibly the best reroll target if you guys were doing that. But this isn't really to talk about Leader, but I just want to illustrate what are strong stats to look out for. So when you're reading skill descriptions, look for those things. Again, that's cooldown reduction, attack, elemental damage, reload speed, and max ammo. So this also can appear on certain pieces of gear. So eventually you get to overload gear, where you can get stats and customize your gear. By the way, I did a whole video on overload gear, so you can also check out that in the description. It's my most watched video on my channel, so it'll be right on the front as well. But overload gear is something very, very powerful in the end game. And when you're going for stats here, you can see like I have max ammo on here. I have elemental damage, and these are some really, really valuable things to have on there. The one thing about max ammo, I will say, be careful with that. It's good for like 90% of units, but there are some units, such as Privity, that have skills that go off every time they shoot with the last bullet, and so you actually don't want to increase their ammo, but just keep that in mind. Eventually, you also get cubes, and one of the best cubes is going to be this resilience cube here, and we'll talk more about cubes there, but that's another place where you can get stats and stuff, where you'll look out for those different skills that I mentioned that are more powerful than some of the other things. Okay, so now let's talk about molds versus consoles, okay? So we're gonna go into the shop here, and as you are pulling on any banner, you're going to accumulate this body label currency, okay? And in the early game, I would recommend always buying these mold fragments, okay? This is just going to give you more chances at increasing your SSR collection, getting more copies, getting more powerful units. This is really, really good, okay? So just it's going to be a lot of RNG, but just keep buying the molds, okay? However, once you reach a certain threshold, the real end game is upgrading these consoles, okay? And if you go to the outpost, there is a building called the recycling room. And in this recycling room, this gives you stats for specific types of units, okay? So we'll go ahead and go in here, and you can see these levels here. So you level up attack, defender, support, and then all the manufacturers here, including abnormal, which is what those ReZero characters are from. And this is going to give your unit stats no matter what game mode they are in, and this is the real end game. So once you feel like you've kind of reached a good threshold with a good collection of SSRs, I would actually recommend investing in those console upgrades in the body label shop. But there are a couple of things you want to keep in mind here so you don't waste your resources on that either. And in here, I would, let's go, it's this one. I would not buy much re-energy. Now you will need some, but likely you will have more than enough. And so try not to buy too much re-energy, but all these other ones you really want to buy, okay? So I would just make a rule of after you're kind of comfortable level of SSRs and you're done buying high quality molds, then I would just buy the daily sale one every single time. There's going to be a reduced price one there. So this is really going to help you in the long run with strong accounts. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about IRL money, okay? So if we go to the cash shop, if you're a spender, you know, you want to be making sure you're being efficient, even if you're a whale, right? So think about your ROI, right? I mean, don't just like waste your money here. So one of the best things you can buy is going to be the 30-day supplies, okay? And that goes for gems and this upgrade supply, okay? So this is by far the best dollar per gem value here, or gem per dollar value, I guess I should say. And then this one down here will give you a little bit of gems, but also gives you daily skill up materials. And like I said, this is one of the other big bottlenecks of the game, and this is also really good value. So if you are going to be a spender, these kind of things aren't that expensive, and it will really help you with your long-term progression over time. Another thing is the campaign packs. Now I can't actually show it to you here on my account, but you can see it here on screen because I've already bought these. This will give you a lot of gems for reaching certain thresholds in the campaign. And so if you're just trying to get a lot of gems, this is one of the best ways to do it. The other kind of good thing is the step up package. However, this does get very expensive, and I would say it's only worth it if you go all the way up. But if you do, that is also very good value. You can also build these custom packages, and this can be pretty good value too if you're like really starting to whale out here. One thing I would say is don't buy this new player package thing. If you did already, you know, whatever, it probably helps you a little bit with your progression initially. So don't feel too bad about it, but I would not say this is really worth it. And also, you generally want to ignore these like pop-up shop things too. Okay, we're getting almost to the end, guys. I know this is a long video, but there's a lot to cover, and I want to help you guys out. So the other really big tip I would say is participate in union and solo raids, okay? So you won't get to do this like right away. In fact, we just finished our union raid, or we're in the middle of it probably for most of you. We finished day 1, so I finished it. But as soon as you can, try and join a union and participate in the raid, okay? So both the solo raid and the union raid is going to be your main way of being able to level up your cubes, okay? So I mentioned cubes was a type of equipment, and then here you can buy cube upgrade materials, or in the solo raid you straight up get the upgrade materials as a reward, okay? So you really want to make sure you're doing as much raid content as you can and getting as high of a score as you can so you can build up the cubes, because cubes are going to be a really good way of making your units stronger. And I would say the 2 cubes you want to focus on most are going to be the Bastion cube. It's this one here, and this essentially makes you have a larger clip because every time you shoot you get more ammo back. And then the other one is the Resilience cube, and this one might be even more valuable, but they're both very, very close. They're definitely the 2 strongest. And the Resilience cube increases your reload speed, or decreases your reload time, maybe is a better way of saying it. And those 2 cubes are going to be really, really strong, and the only way to really level those up effectively is by doing solo raids and union raids. Alright, well, hopefully this video was helpful. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments below. Welcome all new players. It's exciting to see the game growing and seeing other people from other IPs coming in here and discovering Nikke. It's, you know, the game is doing really well, and it's always good to be able to share it with new players. I will soon be making a video on the best units for new players to build and focus on, some that are going to be good long-term investments and some really helpful units for you along the way. So keep an eye out for that video soon. I will also be doing a full review of Amelia soon, and of course Rem after that once she is out. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next video or stream. Subscribe for more Nikke videos.